Should sync it up for us. All right. You hear it all right?
Yeah, I hear it.
Sweet. Well, Zoe Savage. Hey.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I think this is like a special podcast because me and you talked about this for a little while. And I guess it kind of started out as that I interviewed your boyfriend as like my second podcast ever. So this is
Really? Second ever?
Yeah, second ever. So
Oh.
it's kind of cool that.
I gotta say, that one, I saved that one. I didn't listen to it right away. And he got upset kind of. He's like, why didn't you listen to it?
Oh, really?
I was like, there's going to be a day that I need it more than today, honestly.
Yeah,
So
yeah, if you want to kind of explain that a little bit, like why you were saving it.
Yes, I was saving it. He joined the United States Army, and he left for basic training, and I knew that it was in the middle of a fire season, and so I was like, I know there's going to be a day that I need to hear his melodic tones.
Yeah, his beautiful golden pipes.
Yeah.
God, he sounded great, huh? Like, I mean, that guy's got a great voice.
He has a really good podcast voice, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
I think that was actually one of the first things I noticed about him was that I was like, that's a good voice. That's a good radio voice.
Yeah.
You know, people have like radio voices where, especially if they're at work in the field that we participate in, it's like they all have their own radio voice. And sometimes people will be like, oh, I got to say that? Okay. Missoula Dispatch. They get really low. I think they think they sound cooler, and it's true.
It's totally true. Like I didn't know I was really even doing it, and they were giving me a little bit of shit in Dispatch last year. They're like, oh, like smooth jazz with Luke Barrett. Like I don't know I'm doing it, but I guess it's coming out that way.
That's how I think it happens to most people.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like Joy, me and Joy were talking about, and Joy's done Dispatch forever, and she was talking about like how different she sounds, and she really does. Like I recognize her voice, but like if you're just having a conversation with her, like it sounds different to me at least. Did you notice that when you were in Dispatch?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, and nobody from the district that I was initially working at knew that I was their dispatcher for so many fires. And
really?
Like, I came back and I was like, I dispatched that fire, and they're like, you what?
Yeah.
Where were you when that happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It's up in Dispatch helping you guys out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They just didn't recognize it.
Yeah, it's different. It's weird. Like even like when I'm editing this all the time, like I know it's me 'cause I'm like doing it, but it still sounds so weird, like foreign. 'Cause what I hear in my brain, even like right now with the headphones on, is different than what's coming through. So it's still strange.
I'm experiencing that as well.
Yeah, right. That's like, but it's weird once you get the headphones in though. You kind of lock in, right? You're like, all right, in the podcast mode.
Yeah, it's like we're in the middle of a mission.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like time to get after something. I don't know, conversation.
Open your mouth and speak.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so to like tie that in with you holding on the podcast, like us doing this podcast, hopefully, like it'll give. I don't know if he's got like any phone access yet, but like hopefully during training he'll get a minute to decompress and turn this on and get to hear your voice, in return.
That would be super sweet.
Yeah, that's a hope.
It'd be sweet if he wanted to hear my voice like that. Yeah, honestly, they don't get a lot of phone access, but they'd get more than they would have, and more than I think they would have. Like,
really?
Obviously, when we think that people go to basic training, they like don't get to call home. It's like almost completely silent, radio silence, and he's called 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're mostly just sending letters,
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That is kind of cool.
He always draws me little doodles.
Does he really?
Yeah, and he requested that I draw him doodles back.
Like, I need you to return this.
Yes, yeah. And, but yeah, he's called a couple of times, and all 3 of those times I've been at work, and I only got to answer him twice.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And one was just like I've been received by the U.S. military. And
was that one?
Yeah, it wasn't like and he was like, this is it. And he just wanted me to yell, Leroy Jenkins in the background. Yeah.
He wanted you to yell that?
Yeah, he wanted me to do it, and I was like, shit, I guess so. Let's go.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that is awesome.
He goes, this is it.
Really? And then you just let it go?
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
That probably helped him get through. That's really cute. That's that's fun. Like that's man, I love it. Like and you guys being in fire, and it doesn't this isn't just fire exclusive, but it seems like a lot of couples that I've met that are both in fire are like the funnest to be around because like both of them have kind of a similar sense of humor.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I feel like they're more goofy.
More,
if
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and almost more like, more goofy and carefree, not so like sensitive to other things maybe. I don't know. Like.
Yeah, no, I've definitely noticed that when I first met him, actually, some of the jokes he would make, I was like, whoa, that's a lot. And then I got into fire and I was like, haha, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, even like, because I think I initially met you at the Grizz game, right? The Grizz hockey game.
I didn't remember that it was specifically at that Grizz hockey game, but I do remember meeting you, and it was, you were so stoked, so freaking excited. You're like, my girlfriend's pregnant.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
she like opened her coat, and we were all like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, buns in the oven, and I was like super stoked, 'cause I didn't know, I hadn't talked to Nick in a while, so like, I didn't know where he was, I thought maybe he was already shipped off, so I was like super stoked to see him, and it was like, cool to meet you, so that's why it sticks in my head so much, and then, like the first Grizz game, and then, I kind of forget, and then we worked together, and, like, because my little brain doesn't work too good, so like I didn't like recognize you until you're like, oh, I'm Nick's, girlfriend. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot we met, and
I remember that
yeah, you kind of jogged my memory on that. But and then like I don't know if it was like that same day or like a few days later, you're like making like soap jokes and talking about like putting root wads on people, and I was like, oh man, that's kind of dark, but
yeah.
I knew we were gonna get along.
I definitely made an imprint with the Steve I crew because while we were going through our S212, our saw class, we were talking about root wads and how dangerous they are if you just like cut the whole tree off and the root wad can fall back over. And then I chimed in, I go, yeah, it's a really great place to hide a body. And that stuck with me for the entire season, and they never let that go. And then
I'd hear other people say it every once in a while, like, watch that root wad.
It's like, where's Zoe? There's a really nice root wad right there. Yeah, I kind of bullied them into being nice to me because of that one.
Oh, you just scared them into being nice to you. Like, hi. Zoe, you want some candy?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, eat some food.
Then the soap thing, to elaborate on the soap thing, I got really into the idea of making soap, and it's really comforting to watch soap videos, like to go to sleep. I know that sounds weird.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like they're like making fudge.
Oh.
And so it looks satisfying to like watch them cut it for some reason. I don't know. It's like Play-Doh.
How do they cut it? I'm picturing like ice cube tray, like old school.
You know how like say people that do pottery like cut clay with that wire?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have like a wire on a stand and they like cut the clay off of it. It's like that, but it's a contraption that you like close a lid on it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then the wires go through the loaf of soap. But the joke about the soap was that there is a very dark time in history having something to do with the Holocaust and making soap out of human body fat.
Yeah.
And so when I said, somebody asked like, can you make like soap out of humans? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, yup. And they're like, no. And they always say that I was the one that started that, but somebody else drove me to look that up and find that information. Yeah, but I was always known as the person that might turn you into soap if you're not nice. I'm just saying.
That's what I heard coming in. I was like, I knew I was going to get along with you. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. So you don't make soap then?
Well,
not yet. Is there?
It's not like this is a real soap nerd moment, but like it's not like real cold process soap or hot process soap. I've only ever played around with melt and pour, which is just pre-made soap that you melt in the microwave, and then you can color it and scent it however you want and cast it in whatever mold you want, and that's like the beginner step to making soap.
I would say that's more than 100. Maybe not 100, but like 95% of people I know have done. Like
the melt and pour. Yeah,
because like I don't know anyone who's actually even made soap that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure I have some like artist friends that have maybe dabbled, but I can't think of anybody really. So I mean, I'm just saying that's like rare. Like I don't think anybody's even taken that step.
Yeah, well, and I also wondered that too. I ended up starting to see more people that make soap are like going to farmers markets and like actually looking for the stalls of people that make soap.
Oh yeah.
Just because I wanted to see what was going on, what's out there. There's like a little tiny culture around soap making, and then I was like, before I thought about soap, I never would have noticed, and now I notice that like a lot of people do it, but that's just because I'm looking for it.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. Yeah, because you wouldn't pay attention until it's like in your wheelhouse. Exactly. That's how I work at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems pretty cool because it seems like an art form. like all the colors and scents and everything, and especially the scents. I mean, that's a talent, you know, like getting something together. I know you got like your typical like eucalyptus and lavenders and stuff.
Lavender's a big one.
Yeah, there's a reason for it though, you know. Stuff's awesome.
You can actually make like soaps that have a scene in them. So like you can make a scene of like a sunset or like a mountainscape or something like that in your soap.
That was light and fluffy. I thought you were gonna go somewhere a little darker. And you know, it is like Halloween Eve, so that's kind of cool, you know.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was gonna have some like displays or something, but I got
spooky.
Yeah, I was gonna have a little ghost here, and I think on the last podcast
we would have given it a name.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I haven't even named it.
I don't know, Steven or something. Steven the ghost that sits there on the table.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary, not very scary name. I was gonna say it's scary.
I think it has to be a not scary name just for the fun,
Yeah, because it is a ghost and it's scary anyway, so you don't need to name it like.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, a ghost was once a person, right?
Oh yeah, so it could.
I'm just gonna have regular people names.
That's true. Yeah, I know a lot of funny Steves too, so it'd be kind of funny, like have a funny ghost, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's fun.
So
like that.
All right, I'm naming him Steve then.
Steve. Well, yeah. So even though there is no like ghost display here, he's actually there now because we called it. That's
brought him into the podcast. You know, maybe some kind of demonic
Zoe
thing like
Savage
that.
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve the ghost.
Steve the ghost hanging out.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, who knows where this camper's been? I mean, it's been in my family since brand new, but I mean, who knows what's happened
Something
between.
might have come to inhabit it during its sitting time, you know?
Yes, but yeah, sit in the field for like 20 years. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dead mice. I know that for sure.
I was just thinking I was going to be like, Steven's probably a dead mouse, honestly.
No, that would make a lot of sense because I pulled a lot of skeletons out of this place of mice.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, well, if I'm ever going to get hantavirus, this is going to be the day.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. I had it was funny. I had like those old dish soap, you know, like long sleeve gloves on, you know, like dishwashing soap, like gloves, and then bottle of bleach, like the strong stuff in one hand, and then the shop vac in the other hand. I'm just like spraying everything, shop vac. And
you came in strapped.
Oh god, yeah. I think I lost a few brain cells though. That stuff was
didn't
so
open
strong.
enough windows.
No, yeah. I mean, I did not. I thought I had this whole
gosh.
place open, but maybe
it was like
enough.
it was like a how clean is your house moment. Have you ever seen that show?
No.
It's almost like a reality TV show where these two ladies go to people's houses and like open the door to find just like a horrific dirty house.
Oh my
and then they're kind of like their brand is to like go through and do some science stuff and then teach people skills to like keep their houses clean and not dangerous. But one of the things that I always remember from that show was that they had those long gloves, but they always like glued gems on them and had like feathers around the cuffs, and they were fancy, and they were about to get to business. And I was like, those fancy ladies in there cleaning gloves, and they look like they high fashion.
That is, like, I didn't want to ever use those gloves again, so I didn't fancy them up. I just burned them pretty much. I mean,
no, it was
they went.
Definitely just for a reality TV show that they did that. But we would always think about that every once in a while. We'd be like, well, why don't we get some of those and just like I've got ones at home that are purple and have cheetah print around the cuff. Like,
yeah, so you look pretty well cleaned up.
It's just for fun, you know. I don't know.
No,
I'm gonna put my fancy gloves on.
Yeah, I think it's funny. You know, I would have, like I said, I would have kept them for this, but you wouldn't want to keep those ones.
That's okay.
There's some things you just can't get rid of. Yeah, like there's a smell on those things that would not go away.
Ooh, that's gnarly.
Oh, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. But apparently, like those mice didn't have Hanta, or somehow avoided it, or maybe it's just still dormant in the old system.
It's brewing.
You're just waiting to come out. Yeah. So one day, that was brutal. But now it's all clean and definitely heavily bleached. So.
This is lovely.
Yeah, it's not bad, right?
This is very lovely.
Yeah, I just worried that like when I first saw it, I'm like, no one's gonna want to come in here and podcast. You know?
Oh, are you kidding me? This is perfect.
Well, I mean, now though, like when I first opened the door, though.
Oh, I see.
Nightmare.
That one. Open the gates.
Yeah, I was like, oh good God, just burn it. Just gonna burn this thing down. Oh, I'll find another one. But I couldn't let it go. Being the family, you know. I'm so scared of your hair.
Stay.
I'm so scared of your hair catching fire. Like it's not going to, I don't think, but like the light is like right there. Can you feel the heat?
It's not significant, actually. Can you feel yours?
Yeah. I guess, I got the product in the hair. I got to be a little more careful.
Wait, you telling me I don't have product in my hair?
Do you have? I don't know. You can see that I I can't see that you have yours.
Gel.
Yeah.
You got that gel?
Well, it's like I mean, yes, but it's like fancy, like pomade.
Oh, like a fiber wax pomade type?
Maybe fiber. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what you used.
I bought it and I don't know what
There is, in fact, hairspray in my hair, and if it catches fire, we had a crazy time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where the fire extinguisher is. I know there's a hose
You're like,
out there.
oh, God.
Yeah, like,
the mind of a first responder.
yeah, exactly. Where is it?
All right. In a case of emergency.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would just like exit, try to stick my head in the ground like an ostrich.
I would just be, and I'd be like a dog trying to
Put
bury
dirt on it.
Yeah, like, put that thing out.
There's dirt in the dirt.
Yeah.
It'll cool off.
Yeah, hold still, Zoe. I'll get it.
Let me just pour this kombucha all over you.
Oh, that's true.
Just
Yeah.
whoosh.
Yeah, I'm thinking I can just shake it up and just spray it on you. No problem.
It'll foam me like the fire extinguisher anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, might have to
we
cap
got
this sucker.
solutions. Guess
Yeah.
what? We got solutions.
Problem solvers.
Yeah.
That's what we are. So you were not to change subjects, but I was just thinking about this, and I was trying hard not to ask you about it. And we talked about this a second ago, but like you were flying like paragliding.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So I actually started the paragliding process kind of a long time ago.
Oh,
But
cool.
I ended up going on my first high flights as like the sole pilot of that glider.
Yeah.
Just like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Like last week. It was sometime within the past 10 days, and then the last two were yesterday morning, and then the day before that evening. And
Oh, so
it's
yesterday morning was solo, and the evening before you said.
yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What? How was that first solo run?
Oh damn.
Just like unreal.
Gotta clear my throat for this one.
Yeah. Tell me everything.
Okay. I spent the whole day just like chilling, honestly. I was just like trying not to think about it, and even though I wasn't actively frightened by the idea of going to do my first high flight that evening, I knew though that I was like, I gotta take it easy, or I could end up being nervous about it, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally.
But so then you have this whole hike up that you have all the time to feel whatever it is you need to feel before you get up there, and it's like a
highs and lows on the way up, or?
Well, I thought that's what I was saying. I was like, I think there might be a chance that I get nervous about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've been waiting to do this for a long time, and then like I was trying to wrap my head around the idea of being so far off the ground in a meat sack with minimal protection, if that makes sense. Like obviously you have safety procedures in place. You wear a helmet. You know, there's all sorts of little things that you do to stay safe while you fly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that you're just a meat sack and that the ground exists. You know, the sky's fine. It's the ground that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gravity's not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But so I just like, I ended up being really focused just because I'd been waiting so long for that event.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, totally.
And I was like, I know that it's going to be like almost a life-changing moment, not because like anything is really going to be different after this, but that's like an experience people can't take away from you.
Yeah,
It's
and there's nowhere else to get that experience, and it's something that not everybody does, you know?
It is a very small pool of people on this planet that will fly a glider,
Yeah.
fly a paraglider. And there's no other reason for that. Like, you know what I mean? Other than just like, generally speaking, people don't want to be in danger.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, I've never flown one, but I've, you know, flown a few parachutes. And the only thing I could have that was like similar is I caught, a bunch of up air a few times on jumps. And so I felt like more of that, like kind of flying what I imagine a glider would feel like a little bit more, you know, like, like actually, I don't even know how to say it, but like, you know, you can catch like thermals on the glider, you know, like the pros do, and they can go a long ways. So it's kind of like what the closest thing I guess I could imagine for that. But it was a weird feeling. Like I just kind of rose up and then I was just staring at the plane for a while. I was like, oh.
I can imagine that just being picked right back up and being like, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, that's where I jumped out of it. It's like flying circles around me below me. I was like,
You're like, damn, thermals.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here for a minute, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those flights, they have specific parameters for beginners to fly. So it's always like 10, it's like west winds or southwest winds, 0 to 10.
Oh, gotcha.
there's specifics, and I'm not as versed with those yet as, say, like the instructors, obviously. But I mean, it was pretty easy air.
Oh, cool.
Basically, what ends up happening, so the glider. How do I describe this?
Yeah, no worries.
So when you launch, you're not actually flying.
Oh, really?
Like, you're not actually flying a glider most of the time. It is actually just descending very slowly.
Oh, gotcha.
And then, so a flight is actually just a really slow descent.
Oh,
and then a thermal, say if you're going to ride thermals, which is a step beyond like your typical lap, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. For folks who don't know, thermal is just like hot air rising, right?
Yeah, it's a massive hot air that begins at the Earth's surface, and as it gets some what's the word I want? Some thickness to it. That works. So it's just like it grows into a little bit bigger of a mass, and eventually it is hot enough and big enough that it moves upward, heat rises, and then air comes in underneath it to replace it. When you thermal in a glider, the massive hot air, the thermal, is rising faster than you are descending. Oh. So you end up being picked up. And gotcha. You start ascending with that thermal, but just at a slower rate than it is ascending. Oh. Yeah, then, I mean,
that's a really good description of it. I just like, just from smoke jumping, I just, got the definition of like, there's up air, there's down air. So watch out for the down air. I'm like, okay, where does this down air live? And they're like, it could be anywhere. I was like, okay.
And here I was thinking it was going to be like all this complicated wind stuff, and I was going to have to try to wrap my head around it. It's like, no, just down air, up air.
Yeah, exactly.
Better keep your eye on it or something.
Look out for that. Look out for that down air. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna land in that. And I got some more stories from an old guy about like getting piled in. I was like, I don't need to hear that.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah. It was kind of funny. I went on an assignment with some jumpers, and we were just making up like a little module. There weren't enough jumpers to go as a jumper module, I guess. So they just added on some people from the district. And these guys one of our missions was to take this battery up to a lookout and like put it in the lookout. Oh, yeah. And we get all the way up there, and we're looking at this battery. It's heavy. Like, it is a big battery. And we're all looking around like, who's going to do it? And the jumpers are like, all right, buddy, it's us, I guess. And they start climbing the lookout tower, and one of them goes, oh, God. And he's like, don't look down, buddy, don't look down. And they come back down later, and we're like, you guys okay? And they're like, if there's anything that will change how you feel about heights, it's jumping. Yeah. Suddenly it means a lot more to you. Yeah. And they were like on the ground, you know what I mean? Like they were near the earth. So I guess I just thought it was funny that they got nervous about going up in a lookout. Yeah, totally. Good for them for sticking that out, because nobody wanted to carry that battery up. God bless them.
Good for them. And I think you could just like hammer the ground so many times as a jumper that you like, where the height is where it hurts real bad. So you're like, all right, we're about that area. Like where if I fall off this thing, it's gonna hurt real bad.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I mean, they're the ones that become enlightened about that kind of feeling more than anybody else, I feel. So yeah, that's on them. That's for them to figure out.
Yeah, especially on the old round parachute too. I mean, like, you kind of feel like you're starting to cook a little bit too much when you're getting close to the ground. You're like, oh no, and you can't do much to change. You can't do anything really to change that when you're on the round parachute. But the new Ramaras, you can flare it and do a few. Just got a few other options.
Are those ones like easier to turn, to steer?
Yeah, quite a bit easier to steer, but it's easier to like make mistakes though, because you got more control, if that makes any sense. It's more sporty, Wow. Yeah, like I didn't know that. Yeah, when I first started jumping, I got told it was kind of like a sports car and an old truck. So the round being the old truck is it's like pull the toggle, it kind of turns. Pull the toggle, it kind of turns, and then you can like
a jellyfish versus a go-kart.
Yeah,
that's what they used to say about like gliders. Is the ones that I have the most safe ones are like A class, B class gliders, and I have a B class glider, and it's like a sky jellyfish. Oh, and then everybody else, not everybody else, but a few other people have mini wings, and they're like little, but they're speedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you lose elevation pretty quick in those ones, but they say it's the go-kart, and that matters way more. Your like agility and your level of pilot certification matters a lot more if you're gonna fly something a little, you know what I mean, like it responds a lot differently than a sky jellyfish.
Yeah, no, totally. I flew both around in the Ram Air for the Forest Service, and I noticed that too. Like I had a few hot landings with the Ram Air. Luckily, it was going forward and not just down.
Knees, yes.
So
thank God.
Toes, trying to do a PLF, but yeah. So I guess back to your first flight.
Oh yeah.
So solo flight, and like, I guess, like walk me through it. I kind of know like the feeling of like getting picked up off the ground too.
You see this big old grin. Thinking about it, it just makes me smile. I was so absolutely stoked to be there. It was really funny because before I launched, they pretty much said, all right, like set Zoe up. You know, they kind of have like the launch spot moms, which is funny because they're just anybody that has a certification higher than yours as a beginner. And they will take your wing and they'll like bed sheet it, like fluff it out for you and like clear your lines and do all the work that you would have to do if it was just you. And so that's like super nice. So nice of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so then they're like, all right, Zoe, like we got you laid out nicely and just go whenever you want to. And I was like, what did you just say to me? No, I need structure. You have to tell me when to go. Yeah, exactly. And then obviously I just like got over that little like, oh, it's me, like I'm the pilot now. And that was a little bit of a shock to the system, even though I'd been thinking about it all day. But they said it's just like the training hill, and that's all the training hill is for, is like learning to launch and land.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And I mean that's like the biggest part of like flying safely is your contact with the ground and knowing how to manage that. So
that makes sense.
And then so I'm going to go on just a tiny bit of a tangent just to describe something really quick. Yeah. When I was in high school, there was this group of kids they're pretty edgy. Oh. And they were the type of like trench coat wearing, you know, anime loving, and like, you know what I mean? There's just like that specific group of kids. Every once in a while, a couple of them would like Sonic run or like Naruto run, where they like fling their hands out behind them and run. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can picture the Sonic. Yeah.
And I always like I didn't, obviously I wasn't like those weirdos. I was just kind of like, wow, okay, you run like that. That's cool. Yeah. All right. And then I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, do you? And I never in a million years thought that I would find myself a full grown adult doing that exact thing. Doing the Sonic run? Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. You basically, so what ends up happening is you have your hands up like this with your brakes in your hand, and you just run forward as like fast and as hard as you can until your glider inflates and gets over your head. Oh. And then you release your lines that keep your brakes, but your brakes have to be way up high. Oh. And like it's hard to run fast when you're like going like this, so you have to tip over and like bend into the wind and throw your hands up and Sonic run, and then eventually the ground will just kind of leave out from underneath you. You don't like get picked up. It just kind of it's like your motion is not like going upward, you're going out and the ground leaves you. Oh wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Dang. I know, it's really crazy. I'm really picturing this little Sonic run, and then like all of a sudden your legs aren't like touching. Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty goofy because like that's an unnatural way to run. Yeah. Yeah. So for those kids that had it figured out in high school, obviously they were the real, they knew what they were doing. Yeah. Training. I should have taken a note out of their book. Well, but you went to small high school. I mean, like Eureka's probably how big your high school? I don't actually know. My graduating class was like 60 people. Oh yeah, so it's similar. Whitehall's same. I think mine class was B. Smaller. Yeah, class B. Yeah, we had like somewhere between like 40 and 50 kids. Mm-hmm. So like I think I don't know how many, but like something on there, and everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's like you don't. You get along with everybody. You don't like really, it's not like those movies where like there's, jocks cliques. And cliques. Yeah, it's really just everybody's together. It felt like to me at least, and you got along with everybody. So you wouldn't, if you saw someone doing something weird, you were like, yeah, whatever, do you? Like you didn't like. All right, Johnny, I see you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We might even ask him like, "What's happening, man? You all right?"
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah, it was like that at Eureka too, where there were like groups of people, but they were just kind of like established friend groups, and they
Yeah.
were always connected by, say, a sport.
Yeah.
Sports were probably the most important thing to that entire school, so that
Yeah.
makes sense. But like,
yeah, especially small towns,
yeah,
kind of big deal.
yeah,
We weren't very good, so it wasn't as important in like most sports, you know. And
yeah, yeah.
big part on me, you know, because being the athlete, like, you know, probably could have tried a little harder or practiced a little harder, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't really fit into anything. I just kind of cruised,
Yeah, kind of
which
with
I'd be
everybody.
doing a lot
Yeah, well,
in many different facets of my life.
well, that's good. And that well, it shows because like when you came to this fire crew, being a new person, like it wasn't like awkward. Like you just kind of like, at least to me, it seemed like you're just like already part of the team, and you like, you know, by being, I don't know, more than one dimensional, I guess. You know, like in your personality and what you do is important because then like when you get into new
Aw.
places, you know, like you
Mhm.
fit in. You know, you kind of vibe with anything pretty much. You know. Does that
Yeah,
make
I
sense?
definitely felt super comfortable coming into the Stevensville crew.
Yeah.
The moment I walked in there, I was like, there's probably not a person in here I can't be friends with. Like
That's
straight
awesome.
up friends. And I was like, this is good. This
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah, totally. You know, it's like the downside to like seasonal life anywhere really,
Yeah.
but like especially like in a spot like Stevensville where like the fire crew is such a good group of folks. You know, it's like the acceptance there, like you said, like as soon as you walk in, it's like, you know, Seth might give you a hug and you know
Yeah.
you know, just like all about, you know, like taking care of each other and,
Mhm.
and being friends. You know.
That is the best and the most painful part of being part of a crew
Yeah.
that you end up having to leave because you genuinely like these people and you genuinely want to be around them. And it's like, ouch, dude, that hurts. Like, I'm not going to, you know, maybe see you for a really long time or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we were talking
who
about.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we talked about it a few times, but like, you know, right before this podcast and just like, man, you know, like luckily you guys are kind of getting like a slow fizzle out to the end of the season, like we were talking, but you know, sometimes when things just kind of end, like, well, we got no more work. We'll see you guys next year. You're like,
yeah.
oh,
Ow.
yeah.
Yeah. That was sudden and heartbeaking.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a rough breakup. Like, oh god, the hot person just broke my heart. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do now. I'm gonna go work
Yeah.
out and you
It's
know.
true. When I even just this weekend, like this was the first time in a very long time that I've had more than one day off. You know what I mean? So there was actually time in there for not doing laundry, not cleaning the kitchen, not doing the maintenance of existing.
Feeding yourself.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
Yeah. Like I hadn't cooked
yeah.
in so long, and that's so bad for like nutrition wise.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, your health.
Yeah, but so then I had no energy and no drive
Oh yeah.
to like meal prep,
Yeah.
say, or even just like think about a damn meal that would be good for yourself. Like
Yeah, totally.
you get to the end of that rope, and I'm not saying it's so bad. You're not
No,
not necessarily suffering, but you don't have time to think about to like plan.
And it has an impact
Yeah.
for sure, and especially like me having Crohn's disease. You know, like
Mhm.
I have to meal prep, but like you know, and especially when I was getting, you know, like my last couple years in jumping and like back into fire, like when I knew like you only have that day off, it's like so I gotta go to the grocery store, get a pile of food, and I gotta prep for like probably 2 weeks or something, you know, depending on how long, you know, especially in the end of the season where you're stuck at the district, but you're working 12-hour shifts or longer, you know, it's like, gotta make sure I got stuff for breakfast, lunch, dinners, you know, and I'm fitting all that in with like cleaning and you know, like washing clothes and getting stuff ready for the next day, you know, because like you're trying to make as much money as you can in a short period of time, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common understanding is like a fire season. You have to take full advantage of the fire season itself.
Yeah.
So you end up like pushing things aside because it's like fire. This is the time that you have to get after it and get money.
Yeah, totally.
And like your opportunity, it's not like your opportunity's slim. It's just that it's that like this is a specific time of year.
Yeah, small window.
Always dedicated to one thing and one thing only, and that's surviving this fire season. And
Totally.
then it just other things get pushed out of the way. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but laundry is for sure one of those things. I haven't folded laundry
Oh yeah.
in over 3 months.
Yeah, I basically
Been
had
just
like
living out of the the laundry basket.
Yeah, no, totally. And like
Yeah.
I'd have like especially when, living in the bunkhouse in the seasonal life more, I had like 2 chairs, and I'd like had like my pants chair and I had my t-shirt chair, and like instead of having to fold everything, I'd just like throw it on there so it wouldn't get wrinkled, and like lay it out, but like and then like do like one fold on my pants and lay it over, so like they wouldn't get all wrinkled, but like I wasn't putting anything away, just kind of like clean clothes were there, and then there's the pile in the corner that's for dirty, and just go from there, and most of the time like wouldn't even like really touch those clothes though, because I'm just wearing Nomex and work shirts, and that was about it.
Yeah, that was kind of a theme over the past maybe three seasons, because that's how long I've been in fire.
Oh yeah. Probably should have said that going in, I guess.
Oh yeah, I started in 2020.
Didn't give much background on everything, but that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of jumped right into this podcast. I didn't even really introduce you too well.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoe Savage. I'm 23, and I like making soap out of dead people.
out of body fat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, oh shit, what were we talking about? We were talking about laundry.
Yeah.
We were talking about
And you're from Eureka.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just added that in your intro there. Your
middle of the
podcast intro.
Eureka, Montana, basically Canada, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's out there. It's a good spot.
Oh, let me sneak past you is a common phrase uttered in that town. Anyway, I know we were talking about something about clothes or wearing Nomex.
Nomex,
it's been a couple of times now that I've experienced the like almost uncomfortability not being in Nomex.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll need something that's usually in like the saddlebag pocket of my Nomex.
I know.
And then I'll reach for it and I'll be like, where's my big pocket?
I know, yeah. Like
what have I done? Where am I? Who am I?
Oh, I know. Like I'll have like snacks and like, electrolyte, little sticks in my pockets. And like same, especially in this time of year, like the perms are still on, and they're going to start doing hiring here soon. It's like, they're like, hey man, you don't need to wear Nomex anymore. And I'm like,
are you sure about that?
Yeah, it's more functional than, like fighting fire.
Yeah.
I got stuff in these.
I also forget what I look like not wearing fire clothes.
Yeah.
And then I'll take the
shorts.
Nomex out. Yeah. I'll take out, well, if I put on shorts, then you'll see how like when you go to prescribed burns, you get so bruised. It just kind of doesn't even matter what you're doing while you're there. You just end up getting bruised and cut and scratched.
Yeah.
And so then the other day, we'd been burning in the West Fork quite a bit these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I went to put on like leggings, like shorter leggings. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you look abused. How do you have so many bruises and cuts? That's kind of obscene.
Yeah, that's wild. Like my after one burn up the West Fork, my left hand was all beat up, like scratched and like little cuts all over it.
Dang.
And God, there's something else that like maybe it was just like swollen a little bit, like on one of the knuckles. I'm like, I can't even like recall how this even happened.
Yeah.
Like I don't
never know.
I didn't even do much. Like I was just, most of the time I was like fuel mule and just like moving fuel around the burn. So I'm like, what happened to
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like I was like washing my hands the next day, and it's like, like a little cut on my pinky, a little cut on my pointer, and I mean it's super soft to say, but I was like, I don't even know how this happened, how this hand took so much damage.
I wonder, there was a day that I thought that I wasn't working as hard as I was another day that we were there. It was like not as steep terrain. It was just like pretty straightforward, laying strips across. I was a lighter that day. And whereas this other unit that we went to later was like super steep, super complicated, sticking with your contour and stuff like that. And it was very painful to exist there.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
But then on the easy unit.
Yeah.
I remember that at the end of that day, I took my boots off and there was literal just blood and carnage. I was like, I didn't even notice until I took them off and saw it. I was like I wasn't even in pain. And then I was like, how is it that an easy unit results in a war in my socks?
Full toenail just hanging out. You're like, I don't remember that happening.
Oh, and my feet are so ugly right now too. Not that anybody cares, but like I still have like a marathon toe. I did a marathon at the very end of June this summer.
This summer?
Yeah.
Oh, right before I got on. No wonder I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, hey, congrats. That's huge.
Thank you. It was the first one. It's the only one I've done so far, but I like and I almost didn't expect to get like any bruising or anything like that. But it came like a week later, and then suddenly my toenail was attempting to eject. And it's like,
why?
Yeah, I was like, after all this time, why?
Yeah, you stuck with me out of this.
Yeah, and so I just looked mangled.
Yeah.
And then like you just put the fire clothes back on, and you don't worry about it. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, totally. No, I know what you mean. Like going through rookie training, we're doing a lot of running, you know, and like
ouch.
my big toenails, I thought were gonna leave me too, because like it just felt like yeah, exactly. It just felt like they had been like hammered. Yeah, goodbye. Yeah, play little taps. Is that what it is? Yeah. Well, goodbye to my toenails.
Rip.
Yeah. Oh God. Did you do the Missoula Marathon then?
I did.
Oh, awesome. That's an awesome marathon, I've heard.
It was really chill.
Yeah.
It was really funny because at the very beginning, they were like trying to hype you up. Like, Yeah by Usher was just blasting over these speakers, and they like set off fireworks, and it was all hyped up and stuff. And then they shot the gun, and everybody started running. And then it hits you that you're just gonna be doing that for 6-ish hours. And then you're like, they hyped us up for nothing.
I was about to say, like, I wouldn't need the hype music. I'm like, God, and it would work. You know, it would work on me. I'd be like fired up. Like, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. You know, out there and qualify for Boston. You know, like,
obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go just put down a real good time here.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't work. You know, I get maybe like a mile in, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm not gonna make this.
Yeah,
now.
don't let your heart rate get too high, bro. Not right out the gates. No, I just thought it was funny that they like hyped you up so hard, or they at least tried to so hard, and then it's like you buckle in, and then you realize like that's it.
Well, how do you
like,
not get hyped
we're just
up?
gonna.
How do you not get hyped up for all that though? Like Usher and you know, I'd be like,
well,
all right.
I mean, yeah, and I guess that's true. And to me, the marathon was treated like another training run.
Oh,
it was not treated like a race. It was treated like a, hey, like fuel for it, hydrate for it, dress for it. But this is simply just the longest training run you've ever done.
Smart.
And I was like,
that's a good way to put it. Did you like carb load or like do any kind of different meal prep for it?
Kind of. I don't remember exactly what we ate. We probably ate a lot of Domino's right before that.
But
it was a span of about 3 days. We were carb loading for about 3 days.
Oh, nice.
And drinking so much Pedialyte.
Oh, yeah.
That's also something that's kind of obscene.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was about 3 days of just pumping your muscles full of all this fuel.
Yeah.
That nice fuel, that hydration, and we just looked so chunky right before that race. We were puffy, and we got them Domino's bellies, and
that's where you want to be.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a good time.
Yeah.
On it, and there's few times in your life that you just get to, you know, eat everything you want in the span of like 3 days, and
then just burn it off.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It was really fun. It was like Nick ran it with me.
Oh, cool.
And it was really sweet. I was wondering, though, why he wanted to run it with me, because I was like, it's not like I'm going to not finish this. You know what I mean? Like, are you coming with me for motivation or support, which is great. I love that. Yeah. Thank you. But mostly we just kept each other. We just kept each other entertained.
I caught it, but barely. Mostly we kept it.
We kept it.
Yeah.
Somebody along the way gave us a shot of Huckleberry vodka. They're like, hey, everybody want shots? And we're like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm eating this all day. Might as well.
Yeah. And I was worried that it was going to like make us feel gross.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
True.
And then somebody else along the way was actually, they had a grand piano sitting on their lawn.
Oh, wow.
And as you ran by, they were playing do, 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 do. It's like that tune that you play in movies when somebody's running in slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what that song is called, but I was like, he for real out here doing that for us. He did so much.
That is
so extra. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of heard that, you know, and like, and not just in Missoula, but like other places for like these big runs that people come out and like set up stuff in their yard and like kind of help the entertainment as you go.
It's true. There was another like unofficial, it was like a unofficial race table. It was just like somebody in their yard.
No, really?
And they're like, y'all want pickle juice? And we were like, fuck yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Pickle juice. And they gave us shots of pickle juice. And I'll tell you something. I know this is so random, and it's like, why would people want to hear about this? But pickles give you life.
Oh, they really do.
Give you life. I was 19 miles into a 20-mile run during the training for this marathon. And
you had a pickle in your pocket.
No, I didn't. I
Oh, you
didn't.
didn't? Oh.
But so Nick called me and I go, Nick is my boyfriend who's in the Army, by the way.
Yeah.
Nick called me and he's like, how you doing, girl? And I was like, I feel like I'm going to be sick. I don't want to run anymore. And he's like, where are you? And I was like, I'm about a mile out. And he's like, all right, I'll see you in 10 minutes. And I was like, what? No. And he hung up before I could even
request anything? Or?
Yeah. He hung up before I could even ask him, like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
why? What do you mean you're going to meet me? And
Yeah.
not a couple minutes later, he came and he had some pickles in a Ziploc bag. And I was like, I don't want to eat them right now. I can't believe you ran all the way out here for this.
Yeah, what a
and
great guy.
He's like, eat the pickle.
Yeah.
Eat the goddamn pickle, Zoe. And I was like, fuck, fine. And I ate it. And I was like, I feel like a brand new woman.
Yeah.
It changed how that ended completely.
Yeah.
And it was just like a little pickle spear.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think that's good information to get out there because, like, I mean, I think that was like the old way, like pre-Gatorade, to like,
Yeah.
you know, like get your electrolytes and stay hydrated. You know, it was like a salty jar of pickles.
Yeah, and I think it has a little bit of a different effect than Gatorade just because of Gatorade with all of the flavoring, the sugar, especially. So like for people like us in our profession, if you get dehydrated and you try to drink Gatorade to help that, and that's all you drink, you're gonna shit your pants.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, it's not good.
So it's kind of like Gatorade we kind of leaned away from, but then the pickle, just like the flavor of it and what it's got in it, what it is, it's light. I know this sounds weird, but like when you run a lot, wet food is really helpful.
No, absolutely. That's a really good point.
Yeah, but so like the pickle, it just did the thing.
Yeah, see, that's
like magic.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that's a good little tip for folks, I think. Same. Like, I've had like even like goos that were not like wet enough. You know, like
those things are thick.
Yeah, that was like
you just have to lick it like a dog licks peanut butter out of their mouth.
Yeah, I wish I would have known. Yeah, 'cause, like, I was on a half marathon and like I got halfway in there and I was like, I guess it's probably a good time to take the little gel thing right now, you know, and like threw it in there. And luckily I had a little tiny thing of water, like, you know, a little fanny pack thing. But like, it would have stopped me if I didn't have that water, because like it would like coated the back of my throat and I was like,
yeah, I totally get that. And then some of them, they're pretty thick, like they're pretty thick with flavor too. So some of the ones that are sweeter are like
kind of heavy.
They hit different. They hit like a really big spoonful of yogurt.
Oh, that's a good point.
And then you just like choke on it a little bit. But hey, I mean, if it gets the job done, like if you've got miles to run, you better just do it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you better eat your gels.
yeah, I can't remember. I had like some gels and stuff that like I figured out like that I could do without like as much water, because like during rookie training I had like my little, speaking of the saddlebag stash pocket on Nomex, I had full of snacks and like little like caffeine boosts, you know, and that helped a ton.
That would help a ton.
Yeah.
I would be weird if I went through rookie training, which is possible.
I was gonna say when. You know?
When?
Yeah.
We'll give it probably three seasons.
Yeah.
Just because.
That's good. I mean, that's about normal.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had 5 seasons in already, I think, and then on my 6th
Yeah,
right.
that would make sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pocket snacks are you guys don't understand. Pocket snacks are so important.
Yeah.
They keep you from feeling like you never want to be an athlete ever again.
Yeah.
That's like, I've definitely been down that. And I wonder if that's what the pain cave feels like. Because I don't know what the pain cave feels like. I know that people talk about that a lot. Like, especially people that do endurance sports like ultra running or, you know, just anything like that.
Ironman and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. They talk about the pain cave, and I was like, what is that like? And I'm sure it's different for everybody. However, there was a day I think I was actually getting sick, and like I was getting sick with like a cold or a flu or something like that. But I was in, it was like the longest run I had done so far. It was 18 miles. Oh. And I distinctly remember, I might have been shorter than that. It doesn't matter. The point is that I remember starting that day feeling pretty all right. And I was like, just got to get this done.
Yeah.
And by the end of that run, I didn't want to be in fire. I didn't want to be an athlete. I didn't want to do jack shit. I was like actually mad about existing. And then I was like, is that what it is? Is that what that's like? But pocket snacks will change that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely helped me. You know, I started kind of running like with more like snacks, and then I'd have, you know, stuff in my truck when I go for runs that like, because I'd do like an out and back, you know, and I'd run like 5 miles out, you know, and then 5 miles back to get 10 miles in for the day. And I'd have like a chocolate milk and like a coconut water waiting for me, like in my seat when I got back. And yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
sounds nice.
yeah, maybe you're just too optimistic and happy to be like too deep in the pain cave, just a little grumpy or something.
Yeah, just a little grumpy. I just don't want to be an athlete anymore.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, I mean, I was very upset, but I didn't stop, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Pushing through.
And I mean, it was just running.
Yeah.
If you can even call it that at that point. Gimping.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
painful.
That'll still get you through though. And that's a great mindset to have. Like when you do go through rookie training for smoke jumping, like, just simplifying stuff. Cause that's kind of like what I did and like had mantras that I was, listening, like repeating in my own brain to be like, I can do, we'll go all day, kind of like mantras,
That's
like,
nice. I actually do that.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 of them that I have. And one is in the car on the way to work. If I just had like a hard day the day before, right before I get out of my car, I'll be like, you come to work every day knowing and accepting that you might get your ass whooped. and then suddenly you're accepting of anything that happens to you that day.
Yeah.
You're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No,
I came in here knowing this,
Yeah. It's a really
And then
good point.
the other one is this one came to me. There was a fire we had to hike about 1.5 miles out down a ridge to get to. There's no road to it, right?
Oh yeah.
And obviously it's downhill on the way in, but it's uphill on the way out.
Yeah.
And I remember I was carrying so much stuff. I was like 2 Dolmars deep. It was pretty. We were pretty lean as far as personnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes my heart beat faster thinking about this hike out. But we were all pretty loaded down with gear at the end of that one, and somewhere in the middle of that hike, I go, I have infinite pools of energy that I can pull from at any time.
Yeah.
Like now. And I was like, all right, back at it.
Yeah.
I know it's 9 p.m. It's fine.
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be, having that just like mindset of like, could be worse, this is fine.
Yeah.
Just keep cruising.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you
that's
just say
huge.
something to yourself, and then you're like, okay, mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the inside, the parent of your own brain comes out, and it's like, you're doing great, sweetie.
It's like a little life coach in your brain.
Exactly.
Like, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's like, and that's super important. It kind of sounds silly, but it works. There's a reason why people have mantras and repeat them to themselves. I mean, it worked for me. Just like, I could do this all day, no big deal. You know.
Oh, another one that I really throw around the crew, and I think sometimes they hate me for this, but also sometimes it works for them.
Yeah.
Is say someone is like sore. Say somebody's got like a mild injury, but they're working through it, right?
Yeah.
They'll go like, oh, my knee hurts. Anyway,
Yeah.
you just turn around and go, anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
And then the day goes on.
Yeah.
You just kind of like take a moment, see it, acknowledge it, and moving on.
Yeah. All right, well,
you just get back to it.
Yeah, can't do anything about it. Just gonna keep cruising.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like that one.
Yeah, and that's good.
Anyway.
Yeah, good point's not the right word I was looking for, but that's a good way to approach it. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like that's instead of just like letting it fester. Otherwise it's like.
I like that. Yeah.
If you
totally understand.
Yeah, if you don't like you say like acknowledge it, then be like, well, we're doing it, and you could go the other way. The opposite would be like. My knee. Oh man, my knee. Oh man, my knee.
Yeah, and you just end up stewing in it all day, and if not for multiple days, and then it's like, you just end up beating yourself down mentally.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
and I mean, and an injury is an injury, but like,
yeah, but
if you can step away from going down that darker path, then you might as well just go anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, exactly. Because it's just like more like a sore thing, like a bruise or something, like like you said. But then if you're injured, like you said, you gotta. Put the brakes on, address that, not make it worse.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I feel like I do that too when I lift a lot. During the wintertime, we participate in a powerlifting club that the gym puts on, and that happens to me a lot where I like fail a lift, and then I'll go like, I'll just beat myself up about it and be like, I can't believe like I just got it like last week. Like, come on, that's some bullshit. And then you get mad about it. You sit there, you look in the mirror, and then you go. Anyway, you just go right back to doing the normal things, and
that's the point.
It just keeps you going.
Yeah, that's a really good approach. Yeah, because what are you gonna do about it? And sometimes you're, also frustrating part about sports. Sometimes your body just doesn't show up. I've had the same thing where I was doing like a good lift, and it's like, man, I could do this any day of the week. And then like when I go to do it, like if for track or something, we'd max out, or for football, and like all of a sudden like I'm struggling. I'm like, what in the shit, like kind of like that inner like talk with myself. I'm like, what's going on here?
What the shit?
Yeah.
I like that
Come
one.
on, body.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of, and it also helps to not get too deep into your, like, I don't know, into the explaining it to yourself, if that makes sense. If you just say, anyway, or, moving on.
Yeah,
it
moving on.
It kind of like, it kind of redirects you pretty easily, whereas you don't have to like sit there and explain to yourself like, okay, you got to keep going because this is so important. You know what I mean? It just like, it's a very
like a shortcut to getting back on the rails
instead
of just being like, what, dissecting.
You don't have to figure anything out. Yeah, dissect, that's a good word. You don't have to dissect it. You just turn around, keep doing something.
Yeah, keep on keeping on.
Yeah, keep picking up sticks.
Yeah, keep picking up sticks. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we've all been there, Oh. Did you guys have to use the chipper? Thinking of like, nope, no chipping? Oh, I thought it was coming.
We cut so much stuff, and it did come.
It did?
That's the thing, is that on like the last 2 days of our, we had like a little assignment on forest here.
Yeah.
On the last 2 days of that assignment, we'd just been cutting and making this fuel break. And somebody somewhere along the line said, oh yeah, they just ordered a chipper. And we're all like, no, please, we're so deep into this assignment, just don't do it to us. And then we ended up timing out before it got there.
Oh,
so
nice.
Our little crew we were worked to death. We put in a lot of line for being so lean staffed. Again, that happens a lot.
yeah, totally. Especially in a year like this,
Yeah.
And, I mean, you guys were super lean, and then all the sawing and work, and Big Ernie was smiling down by delaying that chipper for you guys,
Yeah, he was just trying to throw us a bone.
Yeah,
throw
totally.
us a twig.
Yeah, totally.
But not one to throw in the chipper. So
yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, I've been on crews where it was like, you have that like saw on fire line or a dozer line, like prepping a dozer line and putting a bunch of saw line in with it, and then like, so you spent, and all of a sudden they're like, well, good job on the dozer line, but we got this chipper that could use some work. You're like, oh. No. And
it hurts my back to think about it.
Yeah, and the hardest thing for me about a chipper is you got earplugs in, so it's like you can't really talk to anybody, so like it just makes for long days. I'm just like loose in my own head, like running around, and which is fine for like an hour, and then after that I'm just like,
After that you get into the pain cave.
yeah, exactly. Like, I guess I'll just throw myself in this thing. And
yeah, exactly. You start thinking, I never want to do fire ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, maybe we should try college again. Like. Don't move on to something else, I guess, know?
It's an intrusive thought for sure.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll just get one and be like, is this because it's late in the season, or is it because it's true? Like, am I done just because it's that time of year, or am I done for real?
Yeah, totally.
and almost every time I find a reason to be like, I'm not fucking finished, dog. Like, we're still gonna do this.
Yeah, especially in your career, there's so much like that you can do. Like somewhere more, places to explore, like like rappelling, like Nick did, or smoke jumping, hot shotting. Like just a Helltac crew, another district. Any of that stuff.
There's too much to see to quit.
Yeah, and it really is a big fire world. Like I'm kind of working my way out of fire, but it's but I've been around a lot, I've seen a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fought fire in most states, like and
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a big chunk that just like states that don't get fires, like pretty rare to like go to Maine or Vermont or Connecticut or any of that stuff, to fight fire, like at least for us, they probably have their own crews that do it, but Region 1 doesn't really send folks out there very often. But yeah, so I mean, kind of tagged all the big things for me, but you like
I got time.
Yeah. When you're kind of educating yourself in a really good way for like harder trainings, like if you end up doing like rappelling, hot shotting, or smoke jumping, like they all have like a rookie training, like criticals week or 2 or however long the training lasts, and it's a bit of a backbreaker, like to put it in nice terms. And but you already have that education of like, all right, you know, if it's gonna be hot and miserable, you know, like going to some pickles, you know.
Yeah,
like,
we're packing pickles.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then, you know, squirreling away some snacks in your saddlebag, you know. And
like we call them the saddlebags.
yeah.
I mean, that's where they are.
Yeah. Did you just come up with that, or like where did that come from?
Yeah, no, I just started calling them saddlebags.
It's really.
I think that's like a Montana specific type of thing to say, just because.
Yeah.
Horses.
Yeah.
Like you just spend time around people that own horses and have things like saddlebags for said horses, or the pack mules.
Yeah.
That sometimes get put at the Steve I station, and
yeah, pack string. And
so I just like, I mean, and like on a person, I mean, that's like some people. I think the memory that sparked that honestly was some people complain of having like body fat that sticks in the saddlebag area.
Oh yeah.
And then I was just like, that fits. I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, you know, the first time I heard it was like today on this podcast. I was like, wow, that does fit. You know, like got some big old pouches on your side of your legs and stash stuff away in it. You know.
I honestly wish there were more. I wish there was like a whole other one.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know. I also like to keep my things like sort of separated and organized.
Oh, true.
And eventually those pockets get so full. Like I had a, what are they called?
Merce.
No, not the Merce.
Something else that we carry all the time with us? Toilet paper.
No.
Flagging.
No, it's that thing that if you start bleeding profusely.
Tourniquet.
The tourniquet.
Yeah.
I carried one of those in my pocket, but my pockets would get so full that the tourniquet would end up stabbing me in the side, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna end up needing to use it. Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, just give me more pockets.
That's how they get you. You
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they get their products sold more.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it works.
Yeah.
Like, well, I had to use it because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, when you go to jump, like, you'll have more stash pockets because the jumpsuits has giant leg pockets, and then you got your cargo pant pockets,
so many
and
spots for snacks.
so many stash pockets. Yeah, like I don't know if you heard about like leg meat, but no, have you known about leg meat? So like,
ooh, what the heck is that?
So like, what folks will do is like they'll just like put away like, you know, anything from like burritos like in tin foil to like bratwurst or sausage, or, you know, typically like it's homemade, like elk or something that someone made, and they like want to like bring it and share it with the bros, you know, bros being boys and girls, on a jump. And so you put, you know, most people have like a stash of meat in their leg pockets, so leg meat, and then it's so nice, such a good treat. Like, I got this memory of the now base manager Charles Savoy, just a great dude, and we jumped a fire in Whitehall, and like, to jump your own hometown is like super rare.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really
must
cool.
Be like, what's up?
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm cooler than you.
I mean, it may cross my mind.
I don't know.
But a little too focused on trying to like land and not hit the fence, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah, one of the guys came super close. And,
ooh.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, all right, fence. You know, don't look like an idiot in front of your people. And but yeah, like I was just like kind of like we're taking it in, kind of had the line tied in, like the fire kind of secured for the evening, and it's like midnight, and we're in a thermal belt, so it's still like super hot, which is weird, but it's like beautiful. Like there's these cottonwood type trees that are just throwing like ember showers. So I'm like taking some pictures and like just kind of enjoying the scene. But I'm like sitting just off the fire line, leaning on my pack, taking some water, eating a snack, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Savoya comes up and hands me the sausage, and it was just like the best thing I've ever had in my life. I was like, this is amazing. Like, it was so awesome. But like just the setting was so cool though. Like just like nothing but fire, like to light the view of what I see, you know. And I see like the silhouette of Savoya coming at me, and I'm like, oh, what are you up to, you know? And like
brings you a tasty snack.
Yeah, brings me a little tasty snack.
That is
like,
so cute.
Oh, thank you. And that was so good. Yeah, homemade, you know.
Actually, I've actually been given jumper leg meat.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, it was pretty goofy. He hadn't jumped that day, but
still had some meat on him.
Yeah, he still had. They were Hatch green chili sausages. Oh. And sausage stories bring us together.
They really do. Meat really marries everything together in the fire world.
Yeah, and we were just like, oh, I wonder where he got off to. He's one of the types that likes to wander off during the daytime, stay occupied, while the rest of us, we were on severity, so we were hanging out, just kind of like listening to the radio, trying to get to know the place. And but so he would wander off, and then this one time he just came back with a full frying pan. We were like, what? He came back with a full frying pan of these hatch green chili sausages. He comes up to the window of the truck, and he like kind of rubs it in our face, like, hey, anybody want some sausage? And all of us had just eaten, and we're like, oh yeah, give me that shit.
Yeah, I'll force it in there.
Yeah. And he was like kind of trying to waft it in, trying to get us to actually want it. And
that is awesome.
It was precious. Oh,
God,
that's
great.
that's what I'm looking for. So there's this feeling that I would get when we had, say, like, just I ate a fire. Yeah. And we had to sleep outside. Had to spike out on it. Mm-hmm. That one fire that I was talking about, where it had that long hike in, long hike out. Yeah.
Hike down and then hike up out.
Yeah. There was another ridge that we like spread out across to go to bed. Yeah. And other people, I don't know where they got the energy to put up their tents, but God bless them.
Yeah, I never do either. Like, unless it's gonna rain.
Nope. I mean, like, you just put that tarp on the ground, and like that's it. Yep. No tent. I don't care anymore.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's like whatever.
Yeah. But luckily for me, that ridge was west facing, and it was this was probably late September. I guess it doesn't matter. The fact is that it was like light enough, even though it was late. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. And the feeling that I'm talking about, and that I continue to chase, is having worked all day, extended your body to this, like, working on this fire, and then you're tired. You did the thing. You go down to you go to bed, and you just get to stare at, like, twilight skies while the sun's setting behind this range of mountains beyond you, and you're just like, this is fantastic. It's like, that is a very content feeling that I don't find doing many other things. No. And I feel like I'd have to ask a jumper to know if that's what happens to them most of the time, but I feel like that's something that happens to them when they do jumps in places that are more remote. Yeah. You spike out, and you get to have a nice night and eat, leg meat.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it is so awesome. Like, and that's pretty much what it is. It's like, Ivy, I was teasing her on the podcast, like, because one of our, Tyler Ware had been like, said, like, recommended jumping to her or something, and she wasn't sure she wanted to do it. And I was like trying to kind of relay it without, like, she really wants to rappel, so I don't want to, like, take that away from her, because it's like, it's awesome too. So, but I was like trying to, like, and I haven't rappelled, so I can't say for sure, but I bet it's super similar to, like, the the small fires that we go to. I mean, it's probably about the same, but, like, there's just a different world out there, like, when you're a smoke jumper. And so I was trying to get that across to, like, Ivy, like you said, like, out in the middle of nowhere. And, like, typically for me, it was a place I'd never been before, because like, the plane will travel so far, like California, Panhandle, Idaho, somewhere, the Bob Marshall, like somewhere in Alaska. So, like, all these cool spots that I'd never been before. And you're just, like you said, like, you're just, like, so satisfied with the work you put in that day. And then you're so beat too, they just, like, lay down and kind of melt into the earth. Yeah. But, like, to a beautiful scene that, like, not a lot of people get to see, like, millions of stars typically.
That's the shit.
Yeah. And, like,
that's the shit.
You don't, it's not like you remember even falling asleep, really, right? You just, like, all of a sudden wake up and you're like, man.
I never do.
Yeah, and you feel good.
I always feel way more rested. And I always had way cooler dreams if I worked hard and slept outside. Yeah. Which is kind of weird.
It is kind of weird.
But I'm sure it just has to do with the simple fact that, like, you're not, like, at your house.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's not distractions. There's nothing else going on. You're not, like, waking up and having to do a bunch of stuff. Like, there's one mission. You wake up and it's, like, back to the fire. Yeah. And it's, like, pretty simple.
I also wonder if it has something to do with the simple fact of being outside. If that there is not a wall or a roof separating you from the universe, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I wonder if your brainwaves just end up beaming out into the depths, Yeah, maybe. I wonder, that'd be pretty cool if any of that could ever be proven. But I feel like it get really vivid really fun dreams when like sleep outside.
Yeah.
They're like dreams I want to have.
Yeah,
and
totally.
not just like dumb ones.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I don't
Yeah.
think like I can't really remember any specific dreams, but I don't think I've ever had like a bad dream sleeping under the stars, you know?
Me neither.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty profound.
yeah. Well, that was you who brought it up. I just was thinking about it. But I, like almost like we're little antennas, you know, and like you're kind of getting your signal blocked when you're inside. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's a little too woo woo, but you know.
I mean, honestly, so far proven to both of us.
Yeah, 100% accuracy right now. You know, between the two of us.
In my life,
Yeah.
that happens to moi.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no one can argue that. You know.
No. The only thing that would have changed that honestly was back up.
Yeah.
I went on a trail hitch. This was before I was in fire. I went on this trail hitch with a contractor into the Bitterroot, starting at Lost Horse and going all the way out to the Selway.
Oh wow.
And back up a different drainage.
Dang, that'd be beautiful.
It was absolutely stunning and life changing because it was. I'd never stayed in the wilderness so long.
Yeah.
It ended up being about 12 days.
Dang.
Yeah, and then for some reason at the very beginning I was pretty young and dumb, which is
Like we all
becomes
are.
apparent when you look at this story in retrospect, right?
Yeah.
And I at the very beginning I was like, damn, this pack is heavy, and I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna carry it. I have to do that. It's for safety, right?
Yeah.
You have the gear. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
When our goal was to log out the trail, so like cross cut things that had fallen across the trail. And we literally had to like leg press these huge cedar rounds out of the trail. It was insane. One time I laid down on a bumblebee, it stung me, and I leg pressed this cedar out of the trail. I was like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like everything comes crashing onto you while you're out there. But I remember at the beginning of that one, right before we left, he was like, hey, I mean, the forecast looks good. So if you don't want to carry your tent, you don't have to. I would just suggest carrying like a tarp or something. Yeah. At least. And I was like, okay. Yeah. And so I'd put the tent back in my car and we went out there, and sometime during the middle of that hitch, it rained and it didn't stop. Like a lot. For like straight up. This sounds biblical, but like it didn't stop for 7 days and 7 nights.
It does sound biblical.
Yeah. And and you can imagine like I didn't dream nicely those nights.
I imagine. Jeez.
It's like everything just stayed wet, and I had these like brand new logging boots, you know, the fire boots that
all leather.
Oh God, and they never dried out. It just never got better.
just swamp foot the whole time.
Yeah, but it was still a really cool experience just because you got to see a lot of cool spots that maybe very, very few people would have seen. And
how many people experience that, like being stuck out in a rainstorm for 7 days, 7 nights, like anywhere, you know, besides like the third world countries probably. You know,
and
like,
I mean, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Turn around? That's 50 miles away. Your car is 50 miles away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. Like, much less any civilization.
Yeah, creature comforts and
you are out there.
Yeah.
You are now an animal. You are no longer a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Time to be out there and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And then that one was kind of weird because at some point all we had to eat were moldy bagels, which I was like, that seems like poor planning. Like that's a planning thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like,
food?
What happened? And then as it turns out, somebody was like disproportionately eating.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, oh no, we're running out of food.
Yeah, that happens.
But we were close enough to the end that we were like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah. And then that was just it was formative because it instead of, and I was kind of like, is this what happens normally? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I find later that people are like, that type of shit doesn't happen to other people. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, but no crew lead of mine would have let that fly. And I was like, oh,
the food part you're talking about, or
just like
thing?
the whole, you know what I mean? Like leaving a tent.
Oh yeah.
Maybe planning food better.
Yeah. Like letting it known, like these are your portions, you know, because it's gotta last us all.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I mean, there's only 3 of us. But and then I don't know, and then it just seems now more than ever like an extremely dangerous thing to do in retrospect. Like if something happened to you, if you got broke somehow, that would be very stressful, you know. And then I just wasn't even thinking about it at that point, and that was just like it comes to show like how young and kind of naive I was about being in the wilderness.
Well, yeah, well, not, yeah, a little more bulletproof, too, right?
Yeah,
You know, when you're young.
yeah. Now I'm like, I will sleep outside, like no problem. Cold, don't give a crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was one of those events of my life that was like
Toughened you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have 100 miles to do.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah, exactly. One step at a time. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's like not, that one was kind of the baseline for like no project too big, if that makes sense.
No, that's really good. Yeah, especially to have that big of a thing. Like I read I think it was No Easy Day or, one of the Navy SEAL books before I went to rookie training. And they're, and you may have heard this before because it's kind of common, is like, the old saying, how you eat an elephant. If you think about trying to eat an elephant, like
one bite at a time.
Yeah, exactly. One bite at a time. And that like really resonated with me when I was doing my training. So I was like in rough shape. Like I'm not much of a runner. So I was like, I am like struggling with just like 5 miles. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, like get there, and just like take it day by day, and just push every day and get there. Just like your 100-mile trek.
Oh my God, that thing was so long. Dude.
But yeah, you need those in life, right? Because unless you can conquer, you can do more than you think, right?
Yeah.
If you like the farthest thing you ever do is like maybe run a mile or in gym class, like, and that's
how it was for a very long time. I was raised in a household where they thought about fitness, but not to the extent that say people in this profession think about it. You know what I mean? Like my family didn't put an emphasis on like nutrition or like sports nutrition or working out really, or like progressing yourself physically somehow. It's just like, I just never learned that stuff. And so a mile to me was a run. 5 miles was completely undoable. Yeah. And even like almost, I remember being like a teenager specifically and thinking, why would anyone run?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I mean? Like it was that mindset. Like, why would anybody want to do that?
Yeah.
That sounds like way too much.
Yeah.
And then I didn't understand until later that like we are built to run.
Yeah.
And that we are capable of, and in fact, I should attempt to be capable of like endurance, like you've never believed, like running, say long distance races or
it's good for
what
you.
have you. You know what I mean? Like it's not as big of a deal as a young Zoe thought it was.
Yeah, no, but everyone is kind of in the same boat until you do it, like trying to think like something simple, I guess like the mile run, I guess is the biggest thing I can think of right now. It's pretty universal. Like I think most, PEs teachers have you do the mile run, and that's like the big deal. And it's like, now it's like you think about a mile run, you're like, I could do that like with a sprained ankle probably,
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's what I was thinking. And then like, imagine the shift, and if you compared these two people side by side, and it was like a 13-year-old Zoe who thinks like a mile is like a really long run.
Yeah.
Because she didn't run.
Yeah, totally.
She didn't know how to run.
Yeah.
Which, how do you not know how to run? That's kind of weird, but you got to literally explain everything top to bottom to kids.
Yeah,
or else
totally.
They don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's fine. That's how it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You're new at being a human. I get it.
Yeah.
But then if you put like 13-year-old Zoe, who's obviously still a child, next to 23-year-old Zoe, extremely vast difference in mentality just because of the
life experience.
Yeah, and then like me now, what I think when I think of like running long distance, I'll think like, it usually takes me like 3 or 4 miles to warm up, and then I'm good, and then I get in the zone, and then I crash it probably like during the marathon, I ended up not crashing until about mile 22. And I was like, that means we prepped pretty good, in my opinion.
That's really good, yeah. Cause a lot of people hit like a wall like on mile, 13 because it's like halfway point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and so I was proud. I don't know what Nick thought about that, but I was proud that we had, other people had kind of mentioned like a 18-mile wall.
Yeah, makes sense.
But like I said, it didn't get extremely painful until mile 22.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I mean that was like,
that's awesome.
That's what we expected, right?
Yeah,
totally. But even during that, and then at the end of that race, everyone was like, "Well, would you do another one?" And I was like, "It's gonna take me a while to figure out what I would want out of running another marathon distance."
Yeah, it's like too soon.
It's too soon.
Yeah.
My feet were hurting. I was like, "It's too soon."
Yeah, exactly. And then, about this right
now. Yeah, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, what would it take to get me to run a marathon distance or more. And I was like, well, that's the thing, is that I have made this a conquest of like getting more distance than I'd ever gone in my life.
Yeah.
In one sitting. It's not a sitting, it's a run, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I exactly know.
Yeah, and then it ended up being like, well, if a warm up is like 3 or 4 miles and an ultra is a distance beyond a marathon distance.
Yeah, it's like anything beyond, right?
Yeah, I was like, probably your next one in line is like a 31-ish mile. They usually use kilometers for the ultras for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, most, like 5Ks, even like, 10K.
Yeah, exactly. And then I could never convert it.
Yeah, me either. I'm like,
right. So I think
5K is like 3 miles or something.
Yeah. So I think the next step up from a marathon, as far as the distance goes, would be like a 31-mile race. And I'm like, what the hell is an extra 4, 5, 6 miles compared to having just done that? So many times in one day. You know what I mean? So now I'm like, ultra running wouldn't be that bad.
No, it's super cool, and like, what a challenge, right?
As long as you had enough pickles.
Yeah, exactly. Just gotta have a little jar, someone with a scooter in a jar or something. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like an aid station that follows
someone
your pickles.
cruise you with pickles. Pickles in a bag. Pocket pickles.
Yeah.
I could sell that.
Yeah, there you go.
Like $1 million idea.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how you'd like keep the pickle safe. You have to like get one of those like
keep the pickle safe.
Yeah. Some little like vacuum sealer or something,
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could probably be like an ultra. You'd probably run with a little little runner fanny pack thing or something.
We have one.
Yeah.
It's got water holsters, like gun holsters on it. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember just like the first couple of long runs that I did, I had to take water with me somehow, right? And I was like, I need enough. And it's like more than 10 miles, so you got to take a big one at least. And I would run with it like a football. And then I was like, I fucking quit. Like I want a different way to carry my water. And then Bob Ward's is like exactly 3 miles in or something like that. And so we just kind of like, oh shit, like I'm fucking tired of this. And so I went into the Bob Ward's, bought a fanny pack, filled it with water, came out, and I was like, all right, motherfucker.
Ready.
And I was just a cowboy with
I was just going to say, double gun
Stick
in water.
them up.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, those are lifesavers, though. Like,
they really are.
Squirrel away some snacks in there, you got your water. I think one guy like that I was running with, he had one that was full. It might have been my brother had like electrolyte mix, like those tabs, like in the one, and then just like straight water in the other. And man, that's super nice.
Yeah, it was so clutch.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that person to like gear up. Yeah. But I did.
Well, sometimes you have to,
like,
right?
That was a good choice.
Yeah. No, and I think that's like when I was in college, to get back to the marathon thing, one of my professors was talking about like you had a percentage of like the whole population, like less than 10% or something, will run a marathon and complete a marathon, and he had like all the numbers for like attempted and even like completed. So and there was like a tiny portion of the human race. So it's like, if, I don't know what an ultra would be, but it's got to be like even smaller than that, you'd think.
Oh man, I was actually thinking about this earlier, and I was like, I should look that up, and then I got distracted by the idea that I haven't run in like probably since the marathon. Really, I think I got sick with COVID halfway through July.
Yeah.
And I think I tried to run a little bit when I felt the illness receding, because I was like, I need to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I felt awful. I was like, dude, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And I went for like the littlest run, and that is the most I've actually like run since the marathon, and that's pretty sad.
Yeah. No, I know. Oh man, I felt like I was pulling an anchor like after I got COVID, like my heart was like really ripping, and I was like, I'm not even a mile in. It really killed my cardio for a while. But
I didn't want it. I didn't want to be somebody that it affected.
Yeah.
Because I am young and I think I'm invincible.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you. I was like, and like I didn't. Thankfully, I didn't have like a bad episode with it. Everything had like 24 hours of like not like feeling like garbage, but like. Even like my knees, I had like aches in the joints and stuff, but like it was only really like 24 hours, fever, all that. And then the next day I had a little bit, but nothing bad, I felt way better, and then felt fine for the third day. Like, but then when I went to go work out, when I finally like was out of quarantine, and I was like, what happened to me?
I came back.
I got asthma.
Yeah, dude, I came back to work and somebody literally looked at me and said, you look like you've lost a little pep in your step. And I was
really?
like, don't tell me that.
Oh,
Oh, no. And I just started spiraling out and being like, I don't know that I can do this anymore. And then we went on a PT hike.
Yeah.
And it was a like full on like pack your pack. And I was like, guys, I don't think I can do it with my pack, dude. And they're like, oh God, Zoe, are you gonna make it? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
It was just nothing but panic because I was so worried that I had been like set back to square one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the
Like
worst feeling,
like
isn't it?
having to restart your fitness journey all over again, and it's like, oh, come on, please don't do this to me. Actually, we did a little more research on how to proceed after having that illness in like particular. And it's kind of like, it's almost about a 3 or 4 week process where it's like, just do half of what you usually do as far as your fitness routine, then move on to 70 to 75%, then move on to, 90% of what you usually do, and then go back to 100% stuff. And I was like, did it happen like that?
Yeah, that's what I asked you. No.
Well, we were right in the middle of the fire season, and so we were way too concerned with like hanging out and being ready.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No,
and
totally.
Send us into the field and that'd be cool. But then we'd be having to like kind of pump the brakes every once in a while and be like, it's hot. We might be becoming dehydrated. Like everybody chill for a second. And there just wasn't, there wasn't time even and I get made fun of sometimes for this, but I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning just to get to the station early and like work out.
Yeah, I remember
people were like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Girls gotta do what your girls gotta do."
Yeah, no,
and then just that was completely killed, just completely slaughtered after getting sick.
Yeah. No, and I remember you showing up early a few times, after I came on, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." But I kind of the same way. I was like, I just didn't have the energy to. Cause I was like, I should get early and get a workout in, because I was going straight to the field as well at that point, so I wasn't PTing really, and now I'm trying to get back into shape from where I was. I mean, I lost like 15 pounds this year, so just, from, it's weird, just from like not working out. And then like, I think when I don't work out, I'm not as hungry. And
then you stop eating, and then
so just
things spiral because then your energy changes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm doing a lot of hiking, like doing all that flagging and stuff. And then I come home and not really thinking about it, like thinking about like seeing the fam and, wrestling the kiddo. And so now I'm like trying to like make myself eat more and, work out and stuff.
Get back into it.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me today. Just today. I was like, I can plan food now.
Yeah.
I like had to remember how to do it. I had to remember how to be like a functioning member of society and not just be like gas station eating.
Yeah.
Not, you know what I mean? Not exercising. I mean, it's not like we didn't exercise while we were working. We were obviously working hard. But now that the days are shorter and now that you're not required to be at work for the, all of the hours that the sun's up.
That's what I was going to say. All the hours of light. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay. And I didn't know, I was like, the transition was kind of difficult too, because, and even though it just happened, and even though I said I just finally had enough time to get back in that zone a little bit or start going in that direction, it's like still a shock to my system. I still I pace around my apartment now, being like, I gotta do something. Like there's gotta be something to do. There's gotta be like something to clean. I have all this stuff I gotta do, but then I just like get overwhelmed and I'm like, oh. And then I start pacing again. I start being like, I should meal prep. I should plan a workout, like something.
Yeah.
Should fold my laundry. That never happens.
Exactly. Yeah, just leave that one alone. But that's like the transition period, and that's part of the reason why it's pushing you to go into hockey, because like then it's like your brain switches over, like, all right, fire season now, winter hockey. And when hockey starts in November, like just about to get laid off, so that'd be like perfect transition.
I hear some of us are kind of planning to go to your next hockey game.
I kind of heard that through the grapevine. Be prepared to be not very impressed, especially for you.
It's still fun.
It's fun, but like, I mean, you're used to watching like Nick, who is way better than I am.
Oh, pshaw. No, I mean, it's honestly, I really don't enjoy watching sports unless it is, this is going to sound so funny, but competition cheerleading.
Oh, really?
or if it's somebody I know is playing.
Yeah.
I really don't enjoy sports unless someone I know is playing.
Oh, gotcha. So I kind of have a little bit of that. Like, but I mean, I like all sports. Like, I'll watch anything. Like, if I just happen to be like cruising by the softball field and like the Grizz softball gals are playing. I'm like, I want to go check this out for a little bit and see how they're doing, you know, and like, so I like all sports, but then, but if I know someone that's playing, I'm like, I'm really going to go check this out. Like, even if like someone's cousin or nephew or kid, I'm like,
and it can be like, it just has to be somebody that I like am there to watch. It's kind of like,
right?
It's kind of like you just need like the goal of a person to watch, and then you end up having your time occupied by watching.
Yeah.
Because then you're like always looking for that person and seeing what they're trying to do and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a good point. And like then it gives you a reason to root for the team. And
exactly.
Yeah. What about competition cheerleading? Like that's your go-to?
It's not the go-to, but it is something that when I watch like the real professional, like hardcore competition cheerleading teams, when I watch them compete, it's hype. Yeah. And I didn't want to feel that way.
You're fighting it?
But it's hype. Because, I mean, they do the stunting and the gymnastics, and I think the stunting and the gymnastics are, like, the most exciting,
high level.
fun part. Yeah,
yeah I've like, seen it on, like, ESPN or something before, and it's like, holy cow. Like, music's loud, and they're going through the routine, and it is talent, for sure.
And it's snappy, too. They just, I don't know, there's something about it that gets me going. So...
everyone's like bouncing and moving and
and they're incredible athletes.
Incredible
athletes.
Absolutely.
And these are people that have trained their entire lives up to that point, to that competition, to do exactly that.
And like, you know, the throws like are insane. Like, I mean, they're throwing those gals up like super high and like, you know, like just getting into it.
Yeah.
I don't know much about cheerleading, but like from what I saw, like
well, something that is a little less known about me now is that I actually was a cheerleader all through high school.
I knew that was coming. That's why I was kind of teasing it out.
Yeah. Well,
cool.
and I played other sports before that. It was kind of, I think the first sport I played was actually baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think
cool.
I was like a 4th grader and I was playing baseball.
That's
and
awesome.
I got the nickname Wood Chopper because when I swung at bat, I would like kind of angle it down and like look like I was chopping wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then eventually I also got another nickname, and it was Ballerina, because every time I swung I would like spin around in a circle. Like the momentum of the bat would just carry me all the way around in 360.
Put a lot into it.
Yeah, I was trying to be good at it, and eventually I gained some skills as far as baseball goes.
Yeah, what's a different sport? I mean, hitting something like usually like waist high to, you know, chest high, and like that's coming at you at pretty good speed. Like I have a hard time with baseball just because I haven't done that motion very much, you know.
Yeah,
I can like catch and throw, but like batting is horrendous.
Batting, it takes practice for sure. But I had really good coaches, so I ended up becoming much more like, I was much more coordinated, and I was running, and I was actually having a fun time playing. And
that's awesome.
That was before like the shift into like being an older kid and having the problems that arise with that. So like the fatigue, I ended up getting I noticed that I was like noticeably tired and didn't want to run, much less have fun running around a baseball field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I like, it was literally that span of like 4th grade to 5th grade.
Oh, really?
I played baseball in 4th grade, and then in the 5th grade I was like, why does it hurt to move?
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened, but
yeah.
So no, I had really a good time with baseball when I was a kid. We lived right next to the baseball field, so
cool.
I kept watching other kids do it and be like, Mom, can I play baseball?
I want to do that.
Yeah, and it's super cute. And then I ended up learning how to throw and stuff. But
oh, cool.
yeah, I was like,
you got a pretty good arm then?
Well, I don't know about that. But then we got too old for the baseball teams. So then they actually had a middle school age softball team.
Oh, cool.
So I ended up playing softball for a little while.
Nice.
Kind of learned how to pitch. I still throw it haywire every once in a while if I try to do it.
But you can do the
Sometimes
underhand,
it's fun.
like, yeah.
Yeah, and get it to go really fast. Sometimes you can get it if you just right, but it's pretty inconsistent for me.
It seems like really hard to do. Like I've messed around with it a few times, and like intramural softball, I can't do it at all.
No, we do it sometimes if we're just like having a little moment to ourselves out in the field. We'll find something to throw a rock at, like just a tree.
Yeah,
it's like off the road a little bit, and I'll try to hit the tree from far away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I'll always softball pitch it, and every once in a while it'll hit.
You get a little zip behind it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems hard. Like I had a bunch of friends on the softball team in college, so we'd always go, and we live like right next to it too. So we'd just like cruise across up the road and cheer them on when they had home games. And I was just like always impressed with the pitchers. I was like, that is crazy. I mean, especially at college level, just getting some heat on that ball and the movement they can get out of it. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Man, throwing some nasty pitches.
Rude pitches, honestly.
Yeah.
Girl, that's rude.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't have a chance at hitting that. You know, I'd just be hoping he'd hit me so I could take a base.
Right. Yeah. And then, I mean, I guess I'm just going through the progression of all the sports I've ever played, and I'm not a pro at any of them. I've always just remained like I went into it and did some and then went back out. But so yeah, it was baseball, softball, volleyball.
Oh, volleyball, nice.
Yeah, I got pretty okay at volleyball. Yeah. And then I actually went to live in Hawaii.
Oh, really?
For a year when I was like a 7th grader. So then I stopped playing volleyball and stuff like that. And they didn't really have sports there. I went to a private school.
Oh.
While I was there, it was very culturally immersed, so that was really cool. We got to learn some hula.
Really?
Yeah, we
that takes some talent too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a super complicated style of dance, but the trick is to know what the dance, like the story that the dance is telling, because that's the point of hula, right? Is like it's telling a story through motion, if that makes sense. So like certain moves have like a specific words and things like that. So
yeah, it seems like a different kind of coordination, because like even like you know, if you're just the hula I've seen, just like even comes from like the fingertips to the toes, like just all the movement that's like in whatever.
Yeah, it's intricate.
Yeah, intricate. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. So it's like, you know, I probably don't have the fine motor, so to me, I'm like really impressed. I'm like, geez.
Yeah, and I mean, especially there's also different. I'm not an expert in this either, but there's also different Pacific Island style of hula. So like Tahitian hula is way different than say
like Hawaiian.
Yeah, like straight up the Hawaiian.
Fijian or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Like, I mean, it makes sense, because just like the North American tribes are all different, you know.
Exactly.
Even like their music and ceremonies are all different, so it makes sense with Pacific Islanders. Never thought of it though.
Yeah, and then so I didn't. That was like the thing to do then, was to. I just learned some routines as far as hula goes, and then we sang in Hawaiian a couple times.
Oh, really?
It was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, but there's no sports.
Yeah,
we had,
strange.
but that was really fun because we had PE outside.
Oh,
yeah. It was always warm.
Yeah, I was gonna say year round, right?
Yeah, and we got through quite a few sports during that, but yeah,
but not like organized, really, anything.
No teams, no nothing. It was pretty much like, all right, kids, we're playing capture the flag.
Yeah,
and
which is fun, but
at the time, and here's something that started emerging too, is that I was beginning to be pretty extremely anemic.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like your iron levels are just dropping, huh?
Yeah, and they just like never recovered. Probably because the only thing I ate was
coconut.
I wish. No, it was you know those peanut butter pretzels, peanut butter filled pretzels from Costco. It was that dipped in Nutella, and that was all I would eat, dude. Oh, yeah. But I was like an angsty 13-year-old, so like just let it go. Yeah, no, totally. Everybody just like, we can't fight her. Yeah. she's too mean right now.
I get it.
Yeah, and then I came back to Montana, and that's when I moved to Eureka.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I tried to play volleyball there, but I was so sick.
Oh, okay.
I was so anemic,
energy.
And so I was extremely fatigued, and like, you know that burning feeling that you get when you're working out in your muscles. It felt like that sometimes just to stand.
Oh wow!
Like it was extremely debilitating, and everybody's just like, "Why are you being so lazy?"
Yeah.
You know, like,
"Why aren't you
come
happy?
on, kid, let's go outside, let's do some exercise." And I would be like, "Why? I'm just gonna suffer."
It hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, it hurts, and then
Jeez.
yeah, and then obviously like people would look at me and be like, "You are very pale."
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and then so things started just making sense. I went to go get a physical for playing volleyball, and then that's when the doctor was like, "Excuse me, you're very sick with anemia. Like you need iron."
Yeah, that's what they do.
Oh, they just gave me, I think it was either an iron supplement or like an iron binding supplement. Oh, because that's like kind of something that plays into it too, is your ability to bind iron.
Yeah.
But like I was straight up less filled with oxygen than your average human.
Yeah,
I was not cooking with gas, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because I mean, I think most folks know, but like the part that carries the oxygen in your blood is the iron, the hemoglobin. So if you don't have the heme to have the oxygen attached to, like it's like you said that in human anatomy, we had like a car, and you got so many seats in the car. Typically, people like, we'll just say a 4-seat car. These you know, 4 molecules of oxygen on. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I'm gonna describe right now. And like, because I have a low iron too, so that's the way my professor described to me. Is like I was like a 1-seater car for how low my iron was too. You know, not as bad as yours, but it was bad. I did get an iron infusion in a couple years back, so, and actually last year, but that's why I was wondering if you had an iron infusion.
I didn't get an iron infusion. I just actually took pills.
And it works? You still doing it?
No. I don't know. Taking iron supplements suck.
It make you feel like crap.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
and then you don't feel like your poop just turns green. You don't feel like anything changed.
Yeah.
And then
I had the same thing, same experience.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think it was the iron that was the problem. I think it was the iron binding capability that was my problem.
I bet.
But
yeah.
Yeah, and then that was another thing that kind of came with that, was that it was hard to swallow.
Oh, really?
I feel like that goes together. It's something about
you got muscles to swallow too, so I wonder if that's connection there.
I do wonder about that sometimes. But I think that there's like a specific anemia that has something to do with the ability to swallow. I don't know.
Almost like some kind of
I am
paralysis.
no medical professional.
It's not.
I'm not going to make any assumptions, I guess.
I want to make all kinds, but I'm going to say I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, and I mean, that's the thing is I started taking the supplements that they gave me, and it was like Ferrocite or something like that. But I started taking it multiple times a day at first because you have to load it the first couple of days, and then you end up not needing as much days after that, right?
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
And I distinctly remember like going through PE and suffering and not being able to run with the other kids and like not being able to keep up, just having all around a bad time. Yeah. And then I remember distinctly like a week later, we play the same game and suddenly I'm just flying.
And you're dominating.
Just flying around this little gym. And I was like, is this what other kids fucking feel like, dude? Is this what it feels like to exist for them? And I was like, I got all this energy.
Yeah,
Nobody can stop me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
had to feel amazing.
Yeah, but then there was still like fitness that had to be made up for.
Yeah.
So I still couldn't like do all the things exactly to the level that the other kids were doing them. But
yeah, because you probably had some muscular atrophy, you know, like a
yeah,
little bit of muscle wasting going on, you know, I imagine, because you couldn't use your muscles, you know.
Mm-hmm. That, and I was already like, I mean, no, you don't weight lift at that age really.
No.
So it's, you couldn't like you couldn't correct some of the things that happen to you when you just don't lift weights. You know what I mean? So you end up being in a lot of like muscular pain sometimes, like especially for me, my back was always hurting.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Well, your core was probably like weak too because of it too. And
there's still times that like I'll try to engage my abs and I'll just like shake because it's not like solid enough yet, which is really goofy considering what I do for a living. But anyway.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, or the fact that I lift weights now. But like that used to happen to me a lot more then to like be shaky because my abs weren't strong enough to just do the thing.
Yeah. Oh, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now you're kicking ass, powerlifting, all that.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a journey too. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is I lifted all through high school. I took a class specifically for it, and
cool.
Unfortunately, I didn't walk away with a ton of knowledge.
Yeah,
or a ton of application. I would like lift, but I would never make any progress. And it wasn't until a while after I'd met Nick that like he was like, "What do you mean you lifted in high school?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "What do you mean?"
You're like,
like,
what are you saying?
Yeah, exactly. And then he taught me how to lift, and he's been a coach and a trainer for long before he was ever a coach and a trainer, like by job title.
Yeah.
And I think
just been a student of the game forever, you know, and especially like being an athlete that he is and playing at the high level, you know, so he's gleaned probably a ton of knowledge on his way up there, you know, and also like he's just such a smart dude. I imagine he's just like trial and error on his own body, like, all right, this works, this doesn't, you know, like.
His brain is fascinating.
It is. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Like, I'm definitely gonna have to sit down with him if he's got time when he comes back. Like,
a little check-in.
Yeah, a little check-in. Yeah,
couple month check-in.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm getting better at this, and the equipment I was like still struggling with getting things figured out, you know, and like I was just using like an old battery to power like back up the GoPro, and it just quit on me in the middle of the podcast, and so like we had to like stop and charge the GoPro and then go and stop and charge. So a lot of stopping and going, but well, shoot, I don't mean to cut you off early, but we've been here for almost an hour and 45 minutes, and you go to work tomorrow, and I had to go relieve the wife on baby duty.
That's fair.
Yeah,
absolutely
but
fair.
I can probably get a few more hours and just like talking to you and picking your brain.
Just pick it like a monkey.
Yeah.
Have you seen the monkeys like when they grew
picking
mother?
Bugs off
Yeah. Pig brain. That's what I always think of whenever it's that, or like immediate imagery of somebody picking their nose when somebody says "pick your brain."
Oh, really? That's weird.
I don't know why.
Now that's like where my brain's gonna go. Thanks for that.
You're welcome for that imagery.
Yeah, appreciate you. That's why I appreciate you, Zoe. My brain didn't really go anywhere until now, so now I have that. So you're leaving me or something. Do you have any like thing you want to blast out there, like social media or anything that you want like people to know about? Like if you ever start doing soaps, you can have like a like a company.
I was like, well, why? I mean, I don't have anything made up yet. I still haven't even attempted to make like a cold process soap or anything like that, but when it happens, I will let the world know. You better believe that.
Yeah. We'll have you back on. We'll probably have you back on before that, but I'll have you back on like to discuss. I just feel like like you and Nick, especially together, and just the way your brain works alone. Like I feel like there's something in the mix. Like you're working on dabbling the soap stuff, and like something.
Oh yeah, he's totally gonna push that too, because he's like, let's make some cash.
Yeah.
Let's make some soap cash.
Yeah, totally. Like good side hustle, especially like, with our seasonal lifestyles, like it'd be probably a pretty cool thing to get into in the winter. And get some, I don't want to push this on you. I feel like I'm just like pushing soap to you. But
make soap.
Yeah, make soap so
don't twist my arm or
so
anything.
I can buy your soap. Yeah.
We'll get it out there when it happens.
Yeah, I'll have you on, and maybe we'll
perfect the craft.
Show some soap. Yeah, perfect the craft. And
show some soap.
Yeah, we'll have in the background so people can see.
And just so you know, it won't be made out of humans.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, disclaimer.
Oh, that's so funny.
Not human soap.
Oh my gosh, that poor crew. They're so terrified of me making them into soap.
Well, I mean, you kept them busy though, and kept them honest.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so they kept away from root wads and all that kind of stuff. So.
It was for safety all along.
Really? Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to put it. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Kept them safe. Well, Zoe, thanks for being on. Thanks for being here. Thanks for driving all the way out here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And we'll definitely do this again. Maybe even a me, you, and Nick podcast or something too would be kind of cool. Yeah.
We'll see if he's game for that.
Yeah, and hopefully gets to listen to this. This will be out, and I'm releasing a podcast possibly tonight or tomorrow morning.
Oh,
so
dang.
This will be about 2 weeks out before this comes out.
Right on.
So sometime in November. And where's he going to be in November? Still down south?
I believe so.
Still training?
I think he gets a little bit of time off for graduation, which is like in 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
It's around. I think it's on the Veterans Day.
Oh, cool.
Then he gets a couple days off then, and then he gets like a 2 week block for Christmas.
Oh, nice. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to see him Christmas. We'll catch up and do some skating. But yeah, like this might be good timing then, because this will release, and then maybe I'll have some travel. So maybe if he wants to listen to it, he'll have a chance to catch up on it.
I have a chance to listen to my own voice and hate it.
Yeah, no.
I'm kidding.
It sounds really good. You did great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, you did great.
No, I'm just trying to get better at it. But yeah,
great.
You stop it. Well, thanks again, and thanks for tuning in and listening to whoever might be tuning and listening. And please like and subscribe.
Hit that like and subscribe button. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.